Do you believe in God?
I believe there's some explanation for this universe, which you might call God.
Hidden in the shadows of history lies a truth so profound, it could rewrite everything we know about the Bible. Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur, allegedly claims to possess the original Bible, a text so controversial it has been suppressed for centuries. What secrets does this ancient text hold? What shocking revelations could shake the foundations of faith? Join us as we delve into the mysteries of the original Bible they don't want you to see, and let's uncover the truth that has been buried for millennia. Ancient religious texts. Elon Musk, the visionary entrepreneur known for pushing the boundaries of technology, has also demonstrated a deep curiosity about ancient religious texts. While many recognize him as a leader in AI, space travel, and electric vehicles, allegedly, Musk has openly expressed his fascination with the origins of human knowledge, including religion. In an interview with Jordan Peterson, he identified as Christian, stating that he respects the teachings of Christ. However, his curiosity doesn't stop at traditional Christian beliefs. Musk has shown a strong interest in lost and forgotten religious texts, questioning whether the modern Bible represents the full story of Christianity. One of the most intriguing aspects of Musk's religious curiosity is his engagement with early Christian writings, particularly ecclesiastical history by Eusebius. This ancient text, written in the 4th century, is one of the earliest records documenting how Christianity developed and how certain books were chosen or excluded from the Bible. Eusebius categorized books into 3 groups: canonical, accepted, disputed, and spurious, rejected. A classification that aligns with Musk's broader interest in how historical narratives are shaped. By exploring such writings, Musk seeks to understand how religious texts have evolved over time and whether any hidden knowledge was lost in the process. Musk's scientific and investigative mindset leads him to be extremely curious about religion. He has repeatedly shown an interest in ancient wisdom, believing that history might have answers that modern society could completely miss. Just as he questions mainstream science and its technological development, he also allegedly questions whether the information provided by religious texts is an accurate reflection of human history. Rather than blind faith, he explores key biblical texts for possible alteration, censorship, or even removal. Of course, this makes Musk quite different from public figures, as he joins earthly rational inquiry with spiritual curiosity. All in all, however, Musk's interest in ancient religious writings fits well into his larger quest for the truth. Whether he is studying the mysteries of the universe or the lost chapters of human history, he is never satisfied. His interest in Eusebius's writings and early Christian studies reveals that he regards religious texts as not merely spiritual guides, but also as historical documents that can reveal forgotten truths. As the rest of the world continues to investigate his discoveries, he himself continues to investigate the source of faith and knowledge, while many wonder, is it possible that these could lead to a new understanding of Christianity's past? As Musk questions history, one mystery stands out. Were key scriptures lost or even erased? The answer might change everything. Let's find out. Lost and forgotten books. While most Christians today read the same 66 books in their Bible, the reality is that many other religious texts once existed but were later removed or forgotten. In the early centuries of Christianity, various accounts of Jesus' life and teachings circulated among believers. However, the church faced a major challenge: which books were truly inspired by God and which were unreliable? As Christian leaders debated, they excluded certain writings that did not align with the theological direction of the church. This selection process meant that some books, despite being widely read in early Christian communities, were left out of the Bible entirely. Among the most famous rejected books is the Gospel of Thomas, a collection of Jesus' sayings that presents a radically different perspective from the 4 canonical Gospels. Another significant text is the Book of Enoch, which describes mystical visions of heaven, fallen angels, and apocalyptic prophecies, topics that contradicted traditional Jewish and Christian teachings. The Epistle of Barnabas was also excluded, even though early Christians once viewed it as authoritative. These books, along with others like the Gospel of Mary and Gospel of Philip, were eventually labeled as heretical or non-canonical by church authorities. The finalization of the Bible stretched throughout hundreds of years. As early as the 2nd century, the Muratorian canon enumerated 22 sacred books, though there was contention regarding certain other writings. By the 4th century CE, it was said by church councils, such as the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD, or the later Council of Carthage, 397 AD, that all such took part in finalizing the New Testament as it is known today. Some of the rejected books ended up destroyed, lost over the ages, or hidden away, leading to centuries of mystery about what might have made it into the original Bible. Even now, the conversation about these lost books continues. Different branches of Christianity have included these books in their set, for instance, the deuterocanonical books, which are included in Catholic and Orthodox Bibles, whereas Protestant Bibles do not include them. Freshly found interests have been raised regarding these neglected writings with the unearthing of such ancient texts as the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Gnostic Gospels. Elon Musk and many other scholars would like to know, would some of these missing books, in fact, contain some precious wisdom that was lost? And if so, how different would Christianity be today had they made the cut? The Dead Sea Scrolls. In 1947, a young shepherd named Mohammed Dib stumbled upon one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. While searching for a lost goat near Qumran, close to the Dead Sea, he entered a dark cave and threw a stone inside, only to hear the sound of breaking pottery. What he found inside would change biblical scholarship forever: ancient scrolls stored inside clay jars. Over the next decade, more caves were explored, leading to the discovery of over 900 manuscripts that had been hidden for nearly 2,000 years. The Dead Sea Scrolls contain the oldest known copies of the Hebrew Bible, with texts dating back to as early as 300 BCE. They include every book of the Old Testament, except for the Book of Esther, as well as numerous religious writings that were not included in the final biblical canon. Some scrolls offer hymns, prayers, and community laws, giving scholars a deeper understanding of Jewish religious practices during the time of Jesus. The fact that these texts remained hidden for so long suggests that certain books may have been intentionally excluded or forgotten over time. The scrolls revealed how the present Hebrew Bible is related to these ancient texts, with over 95% of its reach apt to spell differences. This, according to experts, clearly shows that the biblical writings have been originally accurate and preserved through long periods. One would also find in the scrolls books that were not included in the present-day Bibles, like the Book of Sirach and the Epistle of Jeremiah. This brings forth an important question. If these books were deemed holy from early Jewish communities, why did they get excluded from the Bible later on? Scholars have debated whether these texts should be given fresh consideration within the biblical understanding. The long extant debate about what belongs in the Bible is, without doubt, rekindled by the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. To some others, like Elon Musk, these ancient writings symbolize some kind of missing link in history rather than a religion. These awesome scrolls suggest that very early religious communities had sacred writing far beyond what the official churches recognized at this point. Hence, is there still possibly some of biblical history that we have not discovered? And if their writings were included in the Bible, how different would Christianity be today? Roman Empire's influence. The early Roman Empire was hostile to Christianity, and this hostility led to the destruction of many early Christian texts. From Nero's persecution in 64 AD, where Christians were blamed for the Great Fire of Rome, to the empire-wide orders by Emperors Decius and Diocletian to burn all Christian scriptures, the earliest versions of Christian writings were under constant threat. Many scholars believe that this systematic destruction of religious texts may have resulted in the loss of important books that were part of the original Bible. It was not until centuries later that Christianity would become legally recognized, and given the chance to recover and standardize its sacred texts. Everything changed in 312 AD, when Emperor Constantine the Great converted to Christianity, reportedly after having a vision of a cross before a major battle. His conversion ended centuries of Christian persecution and led to Christianity becoming the dominant religion of the Roman Empire. In 325 AD, Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea, where leading bishops gathered to decide the core beliefs of Christianity. This council produced the Nicene Creed, which defined Christ's divine nature and became the foundation of Christian doctrine. However, the council also played a role in deciding which books should be included in the Bible, as disputes over which texts were sacred and which were heretical had divided early Christians. The establishment of a commonly agreed-upon list of biblical books was incomplete before the Roman Empire turned to Christianity. Various communities made use of different configurations of writings, and many that were once popular came to be rejected or removed from some collections. The historian Eusebius of Caesarea devised a tripartite classification for the early Christian texts: canonical, disputed, and spurious. Later, by the orders of the Roman Church, St. Jerome translated the entire Bible to Latin, the Vulgate, so that the version could be used for centuries to come within Western Christianity. His work helped seal the fate of what flew as being equal to the holy books, left out from those eventually forgotten. The Commonwealth was blessed or cursed. It helped to establish the Bible. It helped develop a taught unity among Christians, but it also brought into oblivion many ancient writings. Under the political powers the Church acquired, its leaders had to choose those blessed words that had a political and theological connection to their church. Some historians and researchers like Elon Musk wonder whether the teachings of Christianity, however, can be said to have been altered, edited, or cut out to befit the vision of the Roman Church. Thus arises an intriguing enigma. If only the Roman Empire had never controlled Christianity, would what we have today in the form of the Bible be entirely different? For centuries, powerful rulers shaped the Bible. But what happens when one man dares to challenge it? A revolution is coming, and it will change Christianity forever. The Protestant Reformation. In the early 1500s, a German monk named Martin Luther became frustrated with the Catholic Church's corruption, particularly the sale of indulgences, a practice where people could pay money to receive forgiveness for sins. He believed that Christianity should be based solely on faith and scripture, not on church traditions or financial transactions. On October 31st, 1517, Luther took a bold step by nailing his 95 Theses to the door of a church in Wittenberg, Germany. This document listed his objections to Catholic teachings, unintentionally sparking a religious revolution, the Protestant Reformation. One of Luther's most controversial actions was his revision of the Bible. He believed that certain books in the Catholic Bible were not divinely inspired and should not be considered sacred scripture. In 1522, he published a new German translation of the New Testament, and by 1534, he had completed a full translation of the Bible, containing only 66 books, excluding several books that Catholics recognized as scripture. Luther moved the deuterocanonical books, such as Tobit, Judith, and Maccabees, to a separate section, stating that they were helpful for reading but not foundational for Christian faith. His edits permanently changed the structure of the Bible for Protestant Christians. Indeed, the effects that were caused by actions of Luther were great. The Catholic Church censured Luther's modifications as deuterocanonical book, again reaffirmed as scripture in the 1540s at the Council of Trent. Such division produced two different forms of the Bible: the Catholic Bible, having 73 books, and the Protestant Bible with 66 books. Other reformers, such as John Calvin, further spread the conviction that indeed only 66 books were inspired, and this conviction further strengthened Protestant denominations. Protestant Reformation was also responsible for the proliferation of literacy, as Luther encouraged ordinary people to read the Bible rather than church interpretations. If historians were to mention a single incident in the course of history that deeply fascinated them, most would draw a history from the closely related topic of the Reformation. The way it was done then was one man's edits that permanently changed Christianity. Did Martin Luther restore the original form of the Bible? Did he delete from it any books that were genuinely integral to the foundation of early Christianity? The details discussed above lead up to prove the fact that the Bible has changed with time. And here is a point out of curiosity for Musk regarding the lost religious texts. If select texts were eliminated from the Bible for any theological or political reasons, would the real Bible hold wisdom long withered out of history? Take on the original Bible Elon Musk, known for pushing the boundaries of technology and space exploration, has also shown a deep curiosity about religion and ancient texts. In an interview with Jordan Peterson, Musk openly stated that he respects the teachings of Christ and even identifies as Christian. However, his approach to religion goes beyond faith. He is deeply interested in the history of Christianity and how its sacred texts were formed. Musk believes that ancient writings may contain wisdom that has been lost over time, and this curiosity has led him to explore early Christian texts and question how the Bible was compiled. One of the key areas Musk has explored is how early Christian leaders decided which books belonged in the Bible. He has read historical works such as Eusebius's Ecclesiastical History, which documents how early church leaders classified biblical texts into accepted, disputed, and rejected categories. Musk finds it fascinating that some books, which were once widely read by early Christians, were later excluded from the biblical canon. His curiosity leads him to ask, did these rejected books contain insights that could change our understanding of Christianity today? The emergence of the Dead Sea Scrolls and other petrified manuscripts has intensified the controversial discourse about the original Bible. Musk has pointed out that some of these scrolls contain books that appear to have been eliminated from the Old Testament, raising the issue as to whether such original documents created by early religious leaders have really tampered with Christianity's sacred texts. The existence of the Gnosis, lost letters, and other non-canonical works would, of course, suggest that the foundational texts of Christianity were broader than we have today. Like many historians, Musk now wonders if modern Christianity lacks elements of that very original teaching. Musk's scientific and philosophical mindset shapes his approach to religion, just as he challenges accounts of the mainstream scientific view. He also questions how different religious traditions have evolved over time. The original Bible is the object, but it connects very deeply with this overall philosophy of seeking truth beyond what is widely accepted. Whether it is with space travel, artificial intelligence, or ancient texts, Musk firmly believes that nothing should be taken for granted, and knowledge should always be questioned and explored. This creates an interesting dilemma. If the Bible we know today has undergone such changes through time, what more could we have suffered missing? What if the Bible isn't complete? For centuries, scholars and theologians have debated whether the Bible, as we know it today, is truly complete. Many ancient texts, including the Gospel of Thomas, Book of Enoch, and the Epistle of Barnabas, were once widely read by early Christians, but were later removed or lost. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947 shocked the world, as they contained biblical texts that had not been included in modern versions of the Bible. Even today, different Christian denominations recognize different sets of books, meaning there is no single version of the Bible that all Christians agree upon. If that's the case, could we be missing essential pieces of Christian history and theology? The process of deciding which books were included in the Bible was a human decision, influenced by religious and political leaders over time. In 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea played a role in shaping the Christian canon, and in the 1500s, Martin Luther removed several books from the Catholic Bible, creating the 66-book Protestant Bible. These historical changes suggest that the Bible has evolved based on decisions made by those in power, rather than being a fixed, unchanging divine text. This raises an uncomfortable but important question. If religious authorities decided which books to keep and which to remove, could they have excluded texts that contained knowledge meant to be preserved? This debate is of keen interest to Elon Musk and many historians out there. The belief that one should question everything, including religious texts that have stood the test of time, is what carries Musk's view on true knowledge. Unlike modern editions of the Bible, which study early Jewish and Christian communities to date ancient religious writings, like the Dead Sea Scrolls and Gnostic Gospels, these texts have been valued by these communities. If, say, these missing texts and there are teachings in them that teach us something that would change our understanding of Jesus, faith, or even God, then the query, is modern Christianity based on an edited version of its own history, would deserve an answer. These lead to one of the grandest questions in religious history. Is the Bible indeed the whole story, or has it only given part of the story? May it be possible that there were lost books, hidden books, or more insidiously books that were deliberately removed, and that such books could carry far more vital wisdom than what is now stated as the guide for humankind? The original Bible must be found, because that is history. What it does is to find lost knowledge that would change the religious picture in which we stand. The more definitive the answers, the more these queries would go on, and the mystery of what else might remain missing from the Bible will always be one of the greatest conundrums in history. Hidden or suppressed? The early centuries of Christianity were filled with debates over which teachings should be considered sacred and which should be rejected. While the New Testament consists of 4 canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, many other writings about Jesus were circulating in early Christian communities. Some of these alternative texts offered radically different perspectives on Jesus' life, teachings, and disciples. Over time, these writings were labeled as heretical and excluded from the Bible, leading to their suppression and, in many cases, destruction. However, some of these so-called lost Gospels have been rediscovered, raising new questions about Christianity's origins. One of the most controversial rediscoveries was the Gospel of Judas, an ancient text found in the 1970s and published in 2006. Unlike the traditional Gospel accounts, which portray Judas Iscariot as a traitor, this text presents him as Jesus' most trusted disciple, chosen to help fulfill God's divine plan. In this version of the story, Judas does not betray Jesus out of greed or malice, but because Jesus secretly instructs him to hand him over so that his mission can be completed. This shocking reversal of Judas's role challenges the traditional Christian narrative and suggests that some early Christian groups may have viewed Judas in a completely different light. In the long catalogue of rejected Gospels showing alternative portrayals of Jesus and his crowd, the Gospel of Judas is just one. The Gospel of Thomas is another that offers some of the sayings of Jesus, as opposed to a conventional narrative. Instead of Jesus suffering under crucifixion and subsequent resurrection, this Gospel addresses events relevant to personal spiritual enlightenment. The Gospel of Mary alleges that it was Mary Magdalene who was most favored by Jesus, whereas the Gospel of Philip actually indicates something stronger than what the canonical Gospels suggest regarding the relationship of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Many of these texts were connected in one way or the other to the Gnosticism strain of early Christianity, which stressed mystical knowledge and self-discovery, as opposed to doctrinal rigidity. These texts were eventually rendered heretical and prohibited by early church leaders who defined a common Christian orthodoxy. The Council of Nicaea in 325 AD mainly presided over defining orthodoxy and squashing alternative Christian writings, with other church councils following. The deliberate destruction marked some of these texts. Others were kept for centuries in hiding. Not until the 20th century, with discoveries including Nag Hammadi Library, 1945, and Dead Sea Scrolls, 1947, have scholars begun fetching these damn lost writings. These rediscoveries have renewed debates about whether Christianity had originally broader teachings than the surviving ones. The question swings between eminent figures like Elon Musk and various scholars as to whether the entire early Christian history is really accounted for. What other secrets might exist? Deep within Vatican City lies one of the most mysterious and restricted collections of documents in the world, the Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Vatican's Secret Archive. This vast repository contains over 50 miles of shelves filled with ancient texts, religious manuscripts, and classified letters that date back over 1,000 years. Unlike most historical archives, which are open to scholars and historians, the Vatican Archive remains highly restricted. Only a small number of approved scholars can access it, and even they are only allowed to view select documents. This level of secrecy has fueled endless speculation. What could be hidden inside? Some historians and researchers believe the Vatican may be hiding lost biblical texts that were excluded from the official canon centuries ago. Could there be early versions of the Gospels, lost letters from the Apostles, or even books of the Bible that were intentionally removed? If such documents exist, they could rewrite the history of Christianity, providing new insight into Jesus' teachings, the formation of the Church, and the origins of the Bible itself. Many suspect that early church councils, like the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, may have deliberately removed or altered certain texts, and these hidden documents in the Vatican could provide answers. Beyond biblical texts, the Vatican Archive also contains records of major historical events, including the trial of the Knights Templar, letters from Galileo, and correspondence from world leaders throughout history. Some theories suggest that the Vatican also stores documents on lost prophecies, hidden gospels, and suppressed teachings that could challenge traditional Christian doctrine. There are even controversial claims that the Vatican possesses secret information about extraterrestrial encounters, though these remain speculative. Regardless, the fact that so much information remains locked away from public view raises serious questions about what knowledge has been intentionally concealed over the centuries, notorious for such documents. They say it is for preservation purposes as well as security. This preserves the fragile manuscripts from damage or misuse. However, many opponents argue that the secrecy is mainly for the protection of the religious authority and to keep the bitterly contested words under cover. Should then the Vatican Archive actually hold non-existent sacred knowledge, is it right for the world to see it? What hidden truths might it reveal if the access to it is opened fully? The mystery of the Vatican's hidden documents seems to be one of the greatest unsolved secrets in religious history, as Elon Musk and others continue to challenge historical narratives. They add a pinch of salt to the controversy by their Vatican Apostolic Archive with the fact that historical discoveries from other faith institutions have poured precedents in exposing hidden biblical texts. Dating back to 1896 was that of the Oxyrhynchus papyri, a huge bundle of early Christian palimpsests housed in Egypt that came to light revealing previously unknown Gospels and fragments of early biblical texts. Similar findings were discovered at an archaeological site in Nag Hammadi in 1945, consisting of a huge cache of Gnostic Gospels that were termed missing for centuries, such as the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Philip. All these findings attest to the fact that some important scriptures have either been hidden or buried in history, either from organized suppression or by the natural progression of time. If this could happen outside the walls of the Vatican, it makes you think even further, would there not be others in the Vatican Archive that are even more groundbreaking documents from the religious aspect? Considering at one time how far-reaching and powerful the Church was, this would leave many to believe that indeed probably the greatest writings forged in lost Christianity could still be locked in its vaults. The past holds its secrets, locked away in ancient vaults. But what if the key to unlocking them isn't in the Vatican, but in the power of technology? AI and technology contributions. Recent advancements in artificial intelligence and technology have revolutionized the study of ancient texts, offering scholars new ways to reconstruct lost or hidden parts of the Bible. Scientists have already used AI-powered text reconstruction and ultraviolet light scanning to uncover a 1,500-year-old hidden chapter of the New Testament, proving that technology can bring lost religious texts back to life. AI has the ability to analyze and restore faded, damaged, or incomplete manuscripts, which were once thought to be beyond recovery. As these tools become more sophisticated, could they help us piece together a more complete version of the Bible, one that includes missing books and lost teachings? One of the most promising uses of AI in biblical research is its ability to compare thousands of ancient manuscripts to identify differences, variations, and missing passages. Many historical texts exist only in fragments, but machine learning can piece them together like a puzzle, reconstructing what was lost. For example, AI can analyze the Dead Sea Scrolls and other ancient religious writings, helping scholars determine which books may have originally been considered part of the Bible but were later removed. By examining these texts through advanced digital reconstruction, historians could finally answer long-debated questions about which books truly belonged in the earliest versions of the Bible. Going further, how will AI revolutionize the academic study of biblical text? AI can begin answering these questions by analyzing handwriting styles, language patterns, and incongruities within the text to determine which portions of the Bible were composed by the same author and which could have been later changed. It might reveal how religious leaders and political authorities actively shaped its outlook, even potentially exposing forgeries or later additions or willful edits to certain passages. Suppose determining by AI that such major modifications occurred during the years in biblical texts. In that case, this might cause quite a quake in the context of much faith-based belief in regard to divinely inspired scripture. What then might AI and other technologies do for future generations in rewriting our knowledge of early Christianity? Can it resurrect missing gospels, hidden letters, or forgotten teachings that might have continued into contemporary views of Christianity? On that day, when AI technology improves again, there may soon be a clearer image of what the original text looks like. But ask some controversies. If the discoveries by AI are against the ordinary findings of religion, will the religious institutions accept these or throw them out? Exciting and unnerving, it opens up the possibility that AI might rewrite biblical history, leaving one thinking, is it the beginning of the end for our lost truths in Christianity? That's it for today's Deep into the mysteries of the Vatican archives and the secrets they might hold. What do you think? Could lost biblical texts still be hidden away, waiting to be uncovered? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest explorations into history, religion, and hidden knowledge. And if you're curious to learn more about lost religious texts and the secrets of the Bible, be sure to check out the next video on your screen right now. See you in the next one.